ever looked at a sport and wondered how gay it was? Or perhaps watched Heated Rivalry and wanted to know what sport should be next on HBO's radar to make a hit queer TV show about? Well, today I'm here to answer that question with little to no basis for like most of it. Hi fellas, my name is Teddy Clyde and I have too many opinions on things that do not matter. First off, I want to say, Happy Pride Month. Hopefully we're having a gay old time across the board. Second off, I'm in the process of moving, so figured I'd do something a little sillier and goofy as I am dealing with that, and also working on some bigger projects here to come. So I understand this deviates from my regular content, but let me know if you like it, and I will definitely do more. To start out, I want to make it so clear that everything I'm about to say is entirely based off of vibes, my own personal experiences, and just general observations dealing with sports and sports media especially, so do not take anything I say as a personal slight against you, or the sport you play, or the sport that you just like watching, whatever. Feel free to disagree with me on literally any of this, it is not that serious. Also, it's worth acknowledging that in most parts of the sporting world, there is going to be a lot of deep-seated homophobia, especially in men's sports. This is deeply uncool, and I wish that every sport was super down with the gays, but that is simply not the case right now. In my ranking, this is not necessarily going to be accounted for, though I might mention it, but in general, if I say a sport is gay, there is likely to be some homophobia in it in actuality, and that is just reality at this point, unfortunately. Let's start out with hockey. Ooh. This guy I'm going to put into B tier. This is because that much fighting and tension, like, it just feels gay, and also, heated rivalry, but it did kind of get brought down by the general vibe of the US men's hockey team during the whole Olympics, so it being towards the top, but not like tippy top, feels correct to me. And maybe after more heated rivalry comes out, maybe it'll move higher. It could get to A, but it's just not quite there yet for me. Next up, we have baseball, which feels kind of homophobic, but also, to me, it feels homophobic in a closeted sort of way. Like, those pants are gay. I can name at least 2 baseball musicals, and musicals, are gay. And, like, whatever the fuck was happening with High School Musical 2. So this may be a controversial take, but I do think baseball does have to go into A tier. Also, I hope we're enjoying my beautiful, beautiful drawings. This is, do I know how a circle looks? And the answer is no. Football, on the other hand, feels homophobic, but in a, actually homophobic way, and I also cannot tell what is happening, any of the times I've watched it, which feels rude and homophobic to me in particular, so this is going to be our first F rank. Also, F for football. Now, this one's gonna be maybe influenced by my own personal experience a little more than the rest of them. But next up we've got fencing, and this one is going to be an S rank. Realistically, maybe it should be A. In my heart of hearts, it is S ranked. This is because this sport has so much weird gay pining in it. If you ever really want to get into fencing, there's a thing called infighting, where you just are fighting really close to each other, and your swords are locked in, and then you it's great. But there's also this Regency era level of oh, we can't touch each other, and we're in full garb, except you have to shake their ungloved hand at the end of it. This just feels so gay. The outfits are like baseball, but gayer, and they're so, truly everything about fencing to me is gay, except that I've met some, questionably homophobic straight guys, but also, truly some of the most queer people. There are so many, gay and trans people, at least in the fencing I did, so I'm this has gotta be S rank. Next up, we've got figure skating, which to me is either very straight or very gay, and so with that, it does kind of just even out into B tier for me. Cross country is up next, and this one is gonna go into D tier. This is because despite how gay those short shorts that they wear are, it really is a sport for just like nerdy guys, like nerdy straight guys, and it just doesn't feel gay. Originally, I was going to place this next one into A tier, but I have talked myself into putting our next contender into S tier. Give a round of applause for archery. It may be obvious to just put it into S tier, and maybe it's not, but like, I don't know a gay person who doesn't love archery, or at least love a character who does archery. Like, find me a gay bitch that doesn't love, like, Merida, or Mulan, or Legolas, or Katniss, or, like, any of those other bitches. Like, I'm sorry. We love a guy with a bow and arrow. And also, like, Disney's Robin Hood is, like, so bisexual, as I'd argue every Robin Hood ought to be. So, I'm sorry, but it just, it's too good. It has to be S tier. Up next, we're gonna have volleyball, which something shirtless guys in Top Gun, but also this is a place where, like, the meanest girls that are, like, the meanest straight people you've ever met in middle school, this is the sport they play. So it does just, like, even out into a C tier for me. Okay, so for swimming, I get no real gay vibes from it, but not in a homophobic way. It does just feel like they're all, like, vague allies, but they're just not really gay, so I'm kind of torn between C and D tier. But since that was kind of my reasoning with cross country, I will also be putting it in D, I think. But no, I'm on the fence about it. For soccer, there's like one picture I've seen multiple times, and it just makes the whole sport feel like so gay to me. But I also really don't have vibes outside of that. So, but because Anthony Head just died earlier today, and he was in hit TV show Ted Lasso, and I'm pretty sure he's down with the gays, except for when he was Uther in Merlin. I think this honorarily gets an A tier, and I feel like it, in my heart, could become a true proper A tier. In my life, I'm just not, like, there yet, but for my man, Anthony Head, this will be going into A tier. Okay, so for me, basketball is just kind of mid overall. It's like soccer, and I have no real feelings for it, but there's less, like, real proper gay photos I'm seeing out of it, so it's gonna go into C. I don't know, it's basketball. Next up, we've got chess. Now, is this a sport? Who's to say? I'm not the sport police, but I do know it makes dude bros who are really straight and homophobic really, really mad when you call it a sport. So, in my book, that makes it pretty gay, so I'm going to put this guy into B tier. So, I didn't watch Marty Supreme, and I probably should have, because I like movies, but Timothée Chalamet, in that especially, just doesn't give hip with the queer people. Like, his mustache feels homophobic instead of, like, slutty and fun. So this is going to go into D tier. This is ping pong. I don't know. And he also was, like, bad dogging, like, opera and stuff, and that's not very gay of him. So now with bowling, it does feel like a middle-aged dad sort of sport, but every plotline I've seen with bowling seems to have, like, one butch lesbian on the team, so it does bring it out of D tier for me and puts it into C. Now, softball might feel like an obvious S tier, and really it kind of is. However, there was some religious softball girls who were mean to me in grade school, and so it has dropped it down to an A tier, because religious people being mean to a queer person is homophobic, unfortunately. So, I'm sorry, softball diehard fans. I know you're going to disagree with me on this one, but unfortunately, yeah, this is going into A, which is still pretty good. It's just, it cannot be on the top tier for me. Next up, we have wrestling, and like, how in the world am I supposed to draw wrestling in like 30 seconds? But for this one, it feels like it really should be gay. Like, everything about it in vibes feels gay, but like every wrestling guy I've met is so straight in a way that I'm like, no, it's just isn't. Like, it's so almost there, but it just isn't. And so wrestling's going into D tier. To no one's surprise, golf is going into F tier. This is no one's favorite sport except for like old white guys, and they are sometimes the most insufferable people to listen to talk about their sport. And I don't like listening to people talk about their sports, regardless if I like the sport or not. And I certainly don't like golf, and it's golf. It's F tier, obviously. Prior to the movie Challengers, I don't think I would have put tennis in a position of being a gay sport, but that movie did like fundamentally change how I look at tennis as a sport, especially like when they're in pairs. But like, it's just like, it is kind of gay, so I'm gonna put it in B tier. On the other hand, we do have badminton, which to me is tennis's already gayer cousin. So that one gets an immediate bump up from the B tier that we have tennis in. So it feels so gay to me. I really want to put it into S tier. And you know what? It is, in fact, my list, so I can put as many into S tier as I'd like, and badminton is, in fact, going up there, so. Next up, we have gymnastics, which doesn't feel super gay. It's kind of a D tier, but putting it lower than C feels incorrect, so C tier it goes. It lacks a je ne sais quoi to be higher, but it isn't on par with D tier. It feels more correct with what I've put into C tier vibes-wise. I just cannot really quite explain why. Up next, we've got curling, which in my head is kind of just Canadian bowling. And Canada does seem to like gay people a whole lot more than the US does right now. So I think he can go into B tier. Like, it's like middle-aged dads, but like in a gay sort of way. Now we've got pickleball. And pickleball is going into F tier because he is just like a sad, pathetic, rich white person's excuse to play tennis or badminton. It's just like, come on, guys, did we need a different version of a sport that already exists in multiple ways? I know most sports are kind of already just other sports that already exist, but this just feels like they're trying to be pretentious when like the other sports that are exactly like it are already pretentious. And you know, it's just the vibe for me is just wrong. I don't know, but it is going into F tier for these reasons. Next up, we've got lacrosse, and there's just like nothing gay about lacrosse. It's not F tier material, but it's just lacrosse. I don't know. It just isn't gay. And so we're putting this bad boy in D tier. Alright, next up we've got rugby, which we've all seen Alona Mar. I don't think I really need to say more. This is going into A tier. She doesn't make up for, like, the men's side of things, but, like, it's A tier. Second to last, we've got sprinting. And I really don't know much about sprinting other than what I've seen from the Olympics. But those people are, like, super cool and talented in a way that is just, like, super impressive. And being super cool and impressive like that is gay. So I do think that bumps it to B tier. It isn't inherently super gay, but it is impressive, which makes it kind of gay enough to be in B tier. Last up, we have roller derby, which is maybe one of the most obvious S tiers I've ever seen. That is so gay. Just look at them, those women. You know, it just, like, so many of them are actually gay. It is such a queer space. The violence is done in a gay sort of way. It's maybe the most obvious S tier, and I thought we should end off on a high note, such as roller derby. So, our last one going up on the board. All in all, I feel like this is a, you know, pretty solid board here. I don't think currently, if I'm in review, I don't think I need to, like, move or change any of this. So I know that this is, like, a fraction of the sports that exist out there. So if you want my opinion on a specific one that I missed, let me know and I will tell you where it belongs on this board. But if you enjoyed this, consider maybe liking and subscribing. This is not necessarily what I normally do, but I am very down to make more of this sort of content. But I normally do some fun, funky theories or deep dives into various forms of media. They get a little silly and goofy. It's worth checking out. But elsewise, I hope you had a good time, and I will see you guys next month.